All right, Marco, how to fight with blade engagement instead of avoiding it. All caveats beforehand, I generally do avoid blade engagement, but that's because if I have my sword on top of somebody else's, they tend not to try to kill me, and then I have to work for it, and I don't like doing that. First of all, arm alignment. Hold your blade so that it is or your sword, so that you have a straight line from the center of that elbow to the pommel out to the point. This is a foil, so it's a little curvy. So it's not going to be a perfect straight line, but the goal basically is to get that line so that forces go pressing against your point channel all the way through the forearm into the biceps. You'll notice this puts a little bit of an angle into my wrist there. This aligns all of your forearm muscles and supports them with the biceps. This makes it very hard for your opponent to push you offline unless they have massive mechanical advantage. Here, I can push, and, my sword's flexing, and apparently there's shaking going all through that thing. But it's not getting bent back like this. The instant I put any sort of break into that wrist, anytime I go from here to here, now I can't resist that press. I can't resist having my sword pushed back. Even if it's an upward angle in my wrist, my opponent will be able to collapse it. Beating my sword strongly, they can pop my sword up offline and then come in. So, forearm alignment is essential to not getting hit. Here is a sword. It's a little hard to see. To gain the blade, I cross my sword over the top of it. Right now, you see, I'm weak on weak, right? But I'm out here and I've crossed over the top. I have gained his blade because if he wants to extend at my stomach now, he would have to go right to my guard and get past it. And that gives me all the strength in the world. So I've gained a positional advantage that will give me mechanical advantage. Also, I've got my true edge on his, towards his blade, and that probably means he has his false edge up. Yay. Now, if he tries to press, if he tries to beat on my weak, he might knock it offline, but again, I've got everything braced. He's not going to be able to smack it way over here unless he really cranks into it. Then you're going to see all the action, the arms tightening up, and it's going to tell you that he's about to throw that beat. If your opponent really likes to beat, you can still have this angle and be further away from their blade. You don't have to put your blade right next to theirs. You can still gain it with that angle across the top, and so long as your guard is between your target area and their weapon. So then they beat, and they try to beat, and if they try to take a really strong beat, you see them start to move, and your sword's a little bit further away, so you have plenty of time to see that coming, and then you disengage and hit them. If you want to press through, then you make that contact, but don't throw a big beat of your own. Don't throw a chop of your own because of the same reasons. They're going to see it coming. They can avoid it. Instead, get that positional advantage, get the pressure, and stay there until you want to go in. And when you go in, you go forward, and you notice that my sword has stayed in his weak, but has actually gone towards my strong. That's the other purpose of this angle. I don't slide my sword like this. I extend through that cross. And then, assuming he hasn't moved still, which means he wants to die, I can't do this because there's a shelf in the way. At this point, once my guard gets to his weak, I can track in to my target. But again, my guard is keeping that line closed, so I'm safe. Do blade engagement with small motion and good structure. Larger motion, weaker structure is easily defeated. If your opponent tries to, take a big beat at your sword, try just putting your blade in the way, like punching into it and watching that, if they're trying to beat at your weak and you've punched into it, they're going to hit on your strong. You're going to have all of your biomechanical alignment behind it, and they're not going to bounce off of your sword. And then you're already lunging because they took this giant action to try to beat your sword, which was actually no threat to you. And they've taken their sword out of the way, and you hit them. So good luck. Gain blade, cross over the top, cross out here in the weak, out of range. That's fine. Have your forearm properly aligned, like this. And when you want to go forward, go forward. If they're smart, they'll do a disengage. And then you'll gain it over here on the outside and keep going forward. And if you're Fabris, you just walk at them until you hit them. Or you can be fancy, and when they do a disengage, you do a counter cavation and lunge and hit them. Because your cavation, if I'm gained, my cavation comes back up and gains their sword at the end. So I go from being gained to gaining their blade. If they're trying to do a disengage, you do a counter cavation, you still have their blade gained, you kill them. Good luck.